All right, let's jump right in and talk about a phase you absolutely have to master for your CPMI exam, Phase 4, Model Development. If you're prepping for the test, this is one you really need to nail.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with a quick orientation, then we'll break down the framework, the nuts and bolts of this phase. After that, we're going to talk about acceptance. How do we know if the model's any good? We'll cover common exam traps, run through some scenarios to test your instincts, and then wrap it all up with what you must memorize. Let's do this.
Okay, so welcome to Phase 4, what I always call the engine room. This is where the technical team actually builds the AI. It's where all the action is. But, and this is the big twist for your exam, PMI doesn't test if you can code the model. They test if you can manage the process and the people who do.
Now, to get our bearings, where does this phase sit? Well, it's the fourth of 6 phases. It comes right after we've done all that hard work in Phase 3 to get our data model ready, and it's just before we formally evaluate how well our model actually performs in Phase 5. It's really the heart of the whole build process.
So, why is this phase so important on the exam? Why do they test it so ruthlessly? It's because this is the flashpoint. This is where the technical team's excitement to build the coolest, most powerful model crashes right into the business's need for a practical solution that actually delivers value. The exam is testing you to see if you can be the guardian of those business objectives.
So, let's think about this phase a little differently. It's not some chaotic science experiment. Nope. For a project manager, Phase 4 is a structured assembly line. It's got clear inputs, specific tasks, and well-defined deliverables.
One of the key activities you're going to see is supervised fine-tuning. This is a really common approach. You take a massive pre-trained foundation model, and then you fine-tune it on your own smaller specific data set. It saves a ton of time and resources, and it's a classic Phase 4 task. And then there's hyperparameter optimization. I love this one. Think of it this way. If training the model is like building the engine, then this is like tuning that engine to get every last bit of performance out of it. You're tweaking the external settings, like learning rate or the number of layers in a network. If you see a question mention adjusting settings, your brain needs to immediately light up and think Phase 4.
This table really lays out that whole assembly line for us. You can see it, right? Our clean, model-ready data comes in from Phase 3. Then we get to work on our tasks. We pick a modeling technique, we train the model, we optimize it, and this is so important, we design the tests for it. The output, a trained model candidate, and a formal go, no-go decision, both of which get handed off to Phase 5.
All right, pop quiz. This is a question that trips up so many candidates. We've built a model. When do we actually design the test to see if it's any good? Do we do it now? Or do we wait until the evaluation phase?
And here's the answer. You have got to burn this into your brain. You design the test in Phase 4. You write the questions, you define what success looks like. But the model doesn't actually take the test until Phase 5. Getting that timing right is a free point on your exam. Don't miss it.
Okay, so this brings us perfectly to our next topic, acceptance. How do we know if the engine our team just built is actually the right one for the job? How do we, as project managers, define good enough?
This quote right here is everything. Seriously, memorize it. Your job is not to be the smartest data scientists in the room. Your job is to be the connector. You are the bridge that makes sure the technical work happening in Phase 4 connects directly back to the business requirements we defined way back in Phase 1.
So before you ever give a model the green light, you have to run it through this sanity check. Does it actually meet our business objectives? Is it trustworthy and compliant? Can we even afford to run it considering our budget and schedule? And does it hit the performance targets we all agreed on? All of these questions are answered by looking back at the blueprint, Phase I.
And the proof, the artifact that shows you've done your job, is the Phase 4 go, no-go decision record. This document isn't saying the model is perfect. Nobody's looking for perfection. It's an official statement with evidence that says this model is good enough to move forward because it meets our predefined thresholds. It's the key that unlocks the gate to Phase 5.
Okay, let's get to the really fun stuff, the traps. The exam will absolutely try to trick you when it comes to Phase 4. These questions are designed to see if you're thinking like a project manager or just a tech fan.
First up is the cool tool trap. The data science team comes to you with this amazing, state-of-the-art, super complex model. The wrong instinct is to just say, wow, that's incredible. Let's do it. The correct PMI-aligned move is to always ask, wait a minute, is there a simpler, cheaper, more explainable model that also meets our business goals? If the answer is yes, simplicity wins every time.
And trap number 2 is the ready, fire, aim trap. The team has clean data, they're excited, and they want to start training the model right now. That's the wrong move. The correct sequence is to get the test plan and the success criteria formally signed off before you start burning up those expensive GPU cycles. If you train without a clear target, you're just guessing.
Okay, knowing the traps is one thing. Spotting them under pressure is another. So let's put this into practice and sharpen those instincts with a few exam-style scenarios.
All right, scenario number 1. Your team is busy adjusting the learning rate and the number of layers in their neural network. So which phase and task group are we in?
The answer is B, of course. That phrase, adjusting settings, is the dead giveaway. That is the literal definition of hyperparameter optimization, and it happens squarely in phase 4.
Okay, next up. Your technical team is beaming. They just finished fine-tuning a model, and they tell you it's highly accurate. As the PM, what is your next best action? A, B, C, or D?
The answer has to be C, and here's why. Their claim of highly accurate is totally meaningless without business context. Your job is to connect their technical work back to business value. And you do that by making sure a formal test is designed to measure performance against the specific KPIs we all agreed to back in phase 1.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground. Let's distill all of this down to the absolute essentials you need to walk into that exam with.
I want you to think of these as mental shortcuts for exam day. These are your if-then rules. When you see a scenario that mentions one of these things on the left, your brain should immediately jump to the correct project management move on the right. This is how you answer questions quickly and accurately under pressure. Now for the core vocabulary. These 5 things are non-negotiable. You have to have them on instant recall. Burn these into your brain. Hyperparameter optimization. Supervised fine-tuning. The fact that designing the test is a key deliverable of this phase. Your role as the connector. And the formal phase 4 go, no-go decision gate. You gotta know them cold.
And let's zoom out one last time. If everything else fades away under the stress of the exam, please remember these 3 principles. Number 1, the engine room is always governed by the blueprint from phase 1. Number 2, your main job is to be the connector. And number 3, get the timing right. Design the test in phase 4. Review the results in phase 5.
So as you continue your studies, I want to leave you with this one question to keep in the back of your mind. Is the model you're building a brilliant solution, or is it just a fascinating new problem? Knowing the difference is what separates a good AI project manager from a great one. Good luck with your preparation.